Well, welcome back to Empire Total War, Darthmod, Poland-Lithuania campaign. You'll notice this is all going a little bit quick. The reason why it's going a little bit quick is because this is now in Windows Movie Maker. The reason why it's in that is because I spent an hour and 15 minutes last night doing this video and no sound went on it. We'd had Skype on only a couple of days before and there were various sort of audio settings to be changed, and lo and behold it screwed everything up. I didn't realise until about midnight last night, when I'd finished the hour and 15 minutes recording, that nothing had been recorded at all. So it was an hour and 15, like I said, so I needed to shorten it anyway, really, if I could. So I'm back to Windows Movie Maker. It's a bit of a fussy program to use. It's really for sort of minutiae of video recording, really. Normally what I do is just play the whole thing through and use the fraps button, you know, to start the recording and stop the recording. So I do it all from raw footage, really. I don't do any altering of it all afterwards. I just play it from there. So basically the control of the camera being on or off is simply me pressing the button while I'm playing the game, you know. So, and I'll do that while the bar is loading, you know, for a battle to start. Anyway, that's enough of that. Darthmod, Poland-Lithuania, like I said. It's been said by quite a few people recently that, well, a few anyway, that, you know, the campaign is looking very, very easy for me. It is looking easy for me. I don't want people to run away with the idea that this is dead easy to play, though. It's not. I know there's something about the way I play it that makes people think, oh, it's very, very slow, you could have done things a lot quicker and stuff like that. And I understand why people feel that way, because I do sort of build things up sort of slowly and gradually and carefully, and I don't have a sort of like a hyped up style or anything, you know. So I am sort of a considerate player, really. But anyway, the point is that well, you know, I sort of plan properly, so it seems to go slow. It's a bit like cricket, really. You know, you sort of don't realise much is happening, but it is really. Well, at least I hope it is. Anyway, the point is that that we have come a long way, taken almost the whole of the East, certainly Europe. I know I said this on previous videos, but what you're going to see on this video now is the end of the Mughals. I'm putting the, well, like I said, the sound recording on afterwards, so I know exactly what happens this time. I don't have to worry about will this happen, won't that happen, and ponder. And that's another reason why it's so quick. I've doubled the speed, which is one of the features that you get with Windows Movie Maker. I can't do that with Virtual Dub, although Virtual Dub is a quicker editing program. It's good if you're happy with raw footage, you know. That's the thing. And normally I am, but of course on this occasion, like I say, no sound got on there, and I thought, what do? Do I go back to the last saved game, you know, and then replay all of that? Oh, that's such a fag having to do that. So no, I don't want to do that. So I'm adding the sound later, and of course speeding it all up as well. I can't remember how to put things onto the internet, to be honest, with Windows Movie Maker, or onto YouTube rather. But you know, in other words, I can't remember which software that I use in order to make it. I don't know what's the word, but I suppose HD. I used to have two possibilities. I used to have the 1080 or the 720 in this, and I can't remember now which one that I went for. I think I tried the 1080. There's something about, anyway, I'm going to have to fiddle with that as well and see how that goes, but so there might be a bit of failure with that as well. But what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the ships around so that I can ferry troops over to the Indian town that's on the west side, in order to take that one, because it's a bit of a distance away for me to be able to reach through, to march through. So I want to be able to collect troops in order to do that. And the other idea, of course, is to take out the Mughal regions, so that I don't have to fight that army there in the east. There are no battles on this video, by the way, so if anybody's expecting to see a battle, they are going to be disappointed. So you can skip if you want to do that. But anyway, the point is that I've had lots of people say, well, you know, it's going to be easy now, you can mass lots and lots of armies, and you can basically take over the world. And yeah, I can. And do people want to see that? I don't know. Do they just want to see the challenge of building something up? Now with the what's the United Provinces campaign, I did play it all the way through, and there's a good reason for that. And that's because it's one thing to take somewhere. Oh, in fact, I did it with the Napoleon Total War one as well. It's one thing to take somewhere. It's another thing to hold it. It seems to be much more easy with Darthmod. But somebody recently put a comment up on the Napoleon Total War one, my series there, saying don't do protectorates. Basically, they suck. He was saying they're rubbish and all blah blah. And basically, what he'd done is the same as me. Really, he made somebody a protectorate. That protectorate had then gone to war with somebody, which broke all his alliance with everybody and made everybody go to war with him. And from a fairly decent sized empire, suddenly the whole thing started to fall to pieces. So sometimes there is a very good reason to play the whole campaign all the way through. I really do, but I'm not sure that I think that's the case in this one. I can't see now, with everywhere being, quite green in terms of the satisfaction of all the towns and cities and stuff. I really can't see that being the case. It will change this game. The point when war is made with well, you can see what I'm doing here, by the way. Now, what I'm trying to do is negotiate that sort of more northern area. Can't remember the name of it now. It's not Kashmir, is it? What's it called? Really north part of India. Anyway, all I'm trying to do is negotiate that one, so I've got that one already in the bag. So if I can buy that one, because I've got loads and loads of money, take the one that's on that coastal attack that you've seen me putting in there, then I only need to take out the one area. You see that area up there? That's the one that I want. That's the really northern area. You could probably see clearer than me. I'm looking on a very small sort of map now. I'm not looking on the actual game map. I'm looking on the Windows Movie Maker one. So I'm seeing the whole of the normal Empire Total War screen. I'm seeing it in probably about a quarter, maybe even less than a quarter size of my screen here, so I can't read any of that or see any of that, and I can't remember the name of that particular area. I don't think it's Kashmir, is it? But anyway, never mind. Point is, I want to buy that, which I succeeded in doing. Then I'm going to take this area here to the left. I want to amass enough troops to be able to walk in and do it on an auto resolve, and have enough troops to be able to move from the area just below there that I'm looking at in order to attack to the west. But make sure that I've got enough troops to backfill that place, so that when... Where are they? This place here, for when... Oh, I'm not looking at them now, but there's some troops to the east of there, some Indian troops to the east of there, that could pose a threat to me, so I need to be aware of that. Oh, they seem to have gone, actually. Where are they? No, I was looking at the wrong town anyway, I think. I don't know anyway, but there's an army around there that can be a bit of a threat. So it's a case of backfilling with all these massive armies, getting some of these out to sea as well, and doing some damage with these. Once the Mughals have gone, the next target is the Persians. So I want to be able to get an attack in place so that I can take the Persians out as quickly as possible. Now, my intention on this video was to complete the series. I thought I'd take it up to 1750. I thought an hour would be enough to complete it, but unfortunately, in my usual ponderous style, maybe that's where I'm slow actually. My turns take a long time rather than what I actually achieve during the turns. That's probably the difference, isn't it, between me and other players? Which leads me on to my next point. What do I do next? People have suggested all sorts of things. Some time ago somebody said, why don't you do Rome Total War? Nobody ever does that. Well, I had a bit of a fish around and I saw this bloke who was doing the Julii, and he was pretty good actually, and he was feeling a bit guilty about taking over this campaign when, I mean, his video got 66,000 views, would you believe, or something like that. And he was saying, oh, I feel really sad because this other guy's doing it and he's really good, and I don't want to sort of rain on his parade really. I don't think that was his expression, but anyway, that's what he was saying, step on his toes maybe, he said. But the point is that that not only was he doing it and getting loads of views, someone else is doing it. So there are people out there doing Rome Total War. So I fished around, I literally fished around. I went to one which was open sea fishing. Oh God, that looked dire. I didn't play it, I just watched the YouTube video. Oh dear me, it was the quality of the graphics on the boat for a start, and the sort of yellow macked fishermen, and it just looks so dull really, getting your catches and building up your money. It's almost like the graphics on it were just playing at it. It's really just an Excel worksheet that you're just adding to. It's almost like being an accountant at sea really, I think. I'm sure there are other factors in there, maybe like weather and low yield and so. I've no idea, but anyway, that looked dull. I saw another one. I thought it'd be a bit different. There's a steam train, would you believe, going through Somerset and Dorset. And I thought, oh, that'd be really good. If it's good quality terrain and all that, that would be really good fun. Especially if you get to choose routes and build railways. But you don't. You just go along the original railway, The scenery is poor. You could be anywhere. You could be in the middle of a cartoon. It could be a version of American Dad. It's just it's that kind of quality, really. I thought, oh, this is dire, you know. So anyway, that was turgid, I think is the best way to describe that one. Whoever did the game, hey, it's brilliant. I mean, if one person made that, it's fun. It's far up and beyond anything that I could do. So I don't mean to knock it in that way, but really, that is not going to make interesting viewing on here. No, I'm going to be falling asleep before you do, I think. But anyway, so that was no good. So I looked at various other things, about various other games. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that comes up to the quality of the Total War games. By the way, while I'm talking about this, you can see me sort of moving troops into position so that I can... what I'm doing here is taking out the artillery. I'm leaving foot behind, thinking, well, if that Indian army does attack me, I've got a big enough force to do it, but I need those guns in my attack over to the west. There's an Indian town over there, you can't quite see it, but maybe it's just a little bit on the picture, just in the top left there. So I wanted the artillery to be in position so that I could attack, and then bring the infantry on later, because as you know, the infantry move a heck of a lot quicker. What I'm doing now is looking at the number of Indian troops that he's got there that could attack me. And my plan, of course, is going to be to leave enough troops in there, in that town, so that I can, next turn, just go straight over and attack that last Indian bastion that's there. And then, of course, that army will be completely wiped out, and I won't even need to worry about it. So the idea was to simply auto-resolve, get everything finished in this game, and then think about what I was going to do next. But anyway, looking through lots and lots of things, the one that I thought would be most fun for me personally was, what was it called? The subtitle was Knights of the Sea, and it was PT Boats, Knights of the Sea. There was another one as well, PT Boats South Oceans or something, Southern something, and that was good. I watched it, you know, and it's basically a ship with a couple of torpedoes and machine guns on it, and you do the things that the torpedo boats did at the time. You know, I thought, well, that's interesting. But when you think about it, you think, hang on, you've only got 2 torpedoes. I mean, I believe some of them have got 4, but okay, you blow up 4 ships. What do you do then? Do you go back and, you know, refill them? I thought, well, I'm not sure if that's game end or turn end or what really happens there. Do you go back and restock, or do you simply get more torpedoes, which I thought would be a little bit unreal. So I thought, no, it's all right to do the torpedoes, but, you know, just flying 2 of them, no, not really. But I liked it. I liked the graphics. It was good fun. It looked like a really good fun. I'd recommend it, actually. It doesn't cost a lot. You can get it on Steam for about £9 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I looked around, and I looked around at lots of like the old Cossacks ones, you know, where you build something really quickly and then get your troops together, go and attack someone. The thing I don't like about that one is you don't get organised ranks and files. You just got individual people jabbing with spears or doing whatever they're doing, and that just doesn't do it for me. It's rubbish, basically. It just doesn't do it for me. Looked at Grand Theft Auto, great, okay, you're flying a car around the place. Yeah, that's fun for somebody to do themselves. If it's exciting, you might go off the road. I don't see how that's interesting for anybody else, you know. So they were talking today on the radio about something called Minecraft or Minesweeper or something like that. So I had a look at that on YouTube, and cool, the graphics are just hopeless. Blimey heck, I've seen sort of 1960s robots that look better than that as depictions of people. He was describing it as some kind of Klondike kid, you know, with a big beard and stuff. I thought, hang on, is that sort of dirty smudge on that bottom sort of flesh-coloured square supposed to be a beard? But yeah, anyway, I thought, no, that's definitely not going to do it for me. It's just not going to come up to the graphics, yeah. But anyway, I don't mean to rubbish these games. They're good, by the way. They're really good. I just can't see them being right, and they're certainly nothing up to the quality of this. Hearts of Iron got mentioned to me. I've looked at that, and it looks like a board game, you know, like a usual hexagonal board game. I thought, nope, that doesn't really do it either. Not interesting. You're not looking at terrain like we're looking now. It's like looking at a board on a table, you know, with hexes on it. I thought, no, you know, with the old sort of like square cardboard things that represent armies, symbols I suppose that represent either tanks or foot and things like that. I thought, I don't mean to knock it, it's probably a brilliant game, it's probably well thought out, and when you get into playing it yourself then I'm sure you really do get into it, but it's nothing like, I mean, look at this, we're looking at the true land here. It's amazing what the Total War team really do create. So anyway, I'm looking around even further, sorry if I'm sort of distracting from the game here, but you can see the Indian territory still hasn't gone yet. There's a lot of fiddling about, and like I said, I've doubled the speed of this. So a lot of fiddling about here, getting the right troops in the right place so that I can assault those areas. But anyway, I found one that I thought, wow, graphics fantastic, concept totally new, game looks new. I thought, this is just outstanding. Now, whether the game is a bit contrived, it is in some ways. It's a bit like some of the Total War ones that I didn't like. You know, the campaign ones. You've got to achieve this now. You've got to achieve that now. Now you've got to take that. To me, that's like a tutorial. I don't enjoy that at all. I really don't. But I tell you what, if you get the chance to look at this, the graphics are absolutely fantastic. And it's called From Dust. From Dust. I think it's called From Dust or The Dust. But I'm pretty sure it's From Dust. Wow. I don't know how to describe it really. The graphics are just tremendous. They're, you know, in Shogun Total War, when you can just see part of the campaign map, you see sort of half a mountain, and as you move around, the mountains build as you're going along. Well, in From Dust, you're God, or some kind of ethereal creature. I think it's meant to be the one single god. I think it's a monotheistic game, but I don't know really. But you get these features and abilities like breath of life and breath of dust and breath of earth and breath of all sorts of things. I don't know. And what you do is you cast this breath over things like the mountains, and you can move water around, you can evaporate it, you can do things. It's like creating a world, you know, it really is. And what it is, there's man on this world. There's sort of like a tribe of men that you have to protect and look after, and they build shrines to you and worship you and things like that. But I don't mean to sort of demean it in that way. The men look brilliant, you know, I really do. It looks like some kind of, you know, lost tribe program on TV. You know, it's very good. Or the version I saw was very, very good anyway. I can highly recommend it. And what you do is you sort of move the dust across oceans and things, you know, so that it creates sort of walkways for them to go across, and they can then build villages themselves and things. I can't see any sort of fighting or warring and things, but geophysically it's absolutely fantastic. You know, you really are holding back tsunamis. You've got lava flows, you've got fires being set, and you've got some strange things like water trees that will fend off fire and stuff like that. That's all a little bit odd, but if you're thinking sort of Garden of Eden, it's all conceivable, you know. But I can't see that you build the civilization beyond native people, you know, with stones worshipping shrines. I couldn't see any more than that, but maybe it does go on further. The quality's amazing. I saw about 5 or 6 videos. No, I saw more. In fact, I tell you what, 10-15 minute videos that I watched on YouTube, and there were about 16 of them, maybe 13, so I don't know, but anyway, I went into the teens. And I was a bit tired. It was at night actually, so I was dropping off a bit, you know, but because there's not much action, not much strategy really, and it does take a long time to build these places, but graphically it looks absolutely tremendous. It's got to be worth watching. Now I thought, is it worth doing that and building that civilization? How much strategy, how much of it is just scripted? You can only work in this particular area, you know, that kind of thing. But it does look stunning. I think maybe it's not one that I'll do, but I've got to recommend it to people to look at. I really have. It looked absolutely tremendous. It really did. But I just wish I could remember the names of these guys that I watched. I very rarely watch anybody else's videos. I spend so much time doing my own. Because I've had Skype on, I mentioned it already. You know, I've had problems with the sound, and of course I didn't have sound on this original recording, so I've had to do it for this, and it's taken me, I mean, it's what, it's 10 to 11 now. I've spent about, what, 20 minutes doing this so far, and so, okay, call it, I don't know, even 10 o'clock I got this sorted out by, but I started this about 7:30 this morning, maybe 8 o'clock. It's taken me 2 hours just to get the sound sorted, you know, so it does take a long time to do these things. That's not me moaning and complaining, it's just me explaining why I just don't get time to watch other people's videos and find out what sort of quality they are. Some of them I like, some of them I really don't like, some of them are like really pulling teeth, you know, and some of them are around about average. But the striking thing is The ones that are poor and like drawing teeth have got about the amount of subscribers and the amount of people watching as mine, which makes me think, oh no, mine's so dull and boring and so, oh dear me, long silences, not knowing what they're doing, you know, sort of sounding dull, sounding miserable, you know. I thought, oh no, what on earth is this, you know, very poor. The ones that've got lots and lots of views, they're really good, you know, they really are. The ones that have got very, very good but sort of middling views, you know, they get 60-odd thousand views to a video, you know, I'd say they're not as good as me, you know. Sometimes I might even think they're a little bit poorer, a little bit better in some ways, you know, but I do get a lot poorer viewings for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't appeal to the American market. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, that's not my point really. I mean, it's basically my point is not that, hey, I feel as though I'm not very good. I don't mean it that way. It's all really about what appeals. What does appeal to people? And I wonder if it's just doing lots and lots of new things. I think that's what they do. They play games as soon as they come out because they think people will want to watch them. I think that is... I don't mean to knock them at all, but I think that's what makes such a big difference. You know, I'm not saying they're not better than me. It's not that. It's just, well, they just, as soon as something comes out, well, they play it. You know, they really don't. And they'll play something and then again and again and again, and they get criticised because they don't play a campaign all the way through. And of course, I'm finishing mine, this one, you know, in 1750. That's what I've already decided to do. So I'm falling into really the same kind of trap, you know, which is a bit of a mistake, really. I think in some ways, but then my intention was always to show people how to do things, really, you know, so how to win as a very small nation in the middle of Europe. That was the challenge for me. How to win as the United Provinces when you're divided one territory in 3 parts of the world that are all extremely vulnerable and exposed. That's really what interested me. You know, Russia, you know, fighting as Russia with, okay, you've got some armies, but it takes you a long time to get those armies through and they're poorer quality than anybody else around you. I thought Russia had the hardest time really in the Napoleon Total War campaign. I really did. I didn't do Spain in the Peninsular campaign. I did the British one, basically because Spain is sort of like little guerrilla warfare and things. I wasn't really that interested in that, I don't think, and I certainly didn't want to be France because France is all about holding on to what you've got. I don't enjoy that very much, you know. So that's why I chose the British one in there. The American War of Independence one I enjoyed very much. I really did. Building something up from nothing. That was really, really good. And of course the original, the first one, the first few videos fighting the Indians and stuff, you know, that's all easy stuff. So I think I went straight for, was it 3 and 4? I think in that series. That was good as well. I enjoyed those. They're really good. I mean, the quality of the Total War games are absolutely fantastic. The battles I love, the sounds I love. I mean, I can virtually smell the gun smoke. It's absolutely amazing. It really is. That's why I don't normally auto-resolve in the ways that I am doing in this particular campaign. What I wanted to do here is make sure that I got enough men to take this place, but because it's an auto-resolve, it can be very cruel, Darthmod, by the way. It really can. I've done tests on it just to see what will win and what will lose, and I've had, I would say, almost a 2/3 advantage. You know, on the bar, you look at it and you think, 2/3, that should be an easy win, a fairly easy win, and you lose it, and you lose it devastatingly as well. You lose lots and lots of troops. So out of a 6,000 man army, you come out with about 1,000 or 1,200, sometimes as low as 900. Yeah, so really, it's just not worth going for the auto resolves unless you're at 3/4, and even then, my heart is in my hands. It really is. I'm thinking, oh no, you know. So I'm bringing up extra men here, you know, just to I don't know, just to reassure myself that the victory is going to indeed be mine. So once I've taken the Mughals out of this, I'll then be concentrating on the Persians. You can't see the Persians in this picture, of course, and they've got, I think I showed, didn't I, on the diplomacy screen earlier, about 4 different areas. I'm not even sure this video is going to work, you know. Actually, I have a feeling that Windows Movie Maker will only take, say, 15 minutes or something like that. I think it starts to struggle when you get above 15 minutes. It did offer me an update, but I thought, no, it worked before, so I'm going to stick with what worked before. So anyway, we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, I've got a piece of orange in my hand here that I cut about, well, peeled and then divided into 4 about 20 minutes ago probably, so I want to get this finished. This is on super speed, by the way, just in case you need a reminder about that. Or I hope it is. It doesn't look particularly quick, actually, does it? Now I think about it. We're at 24 minutes and we're not even halfway through. So at double the speed, really, we should be a lot further through than this. I wonder. Do you know, it's not double speed, is it? Oh, what a pain. I had doubled up the speed, you know, but it's not worked, because what's happened is I've saved project, open the project again, and oh great, and of course when you open the project you lose all the effects. Oh dear. So it's actually on normal speed, so I do apologise for that. One of the reasons for using Movie Maker was not only because it's the only way that I could get the voice on there, but because I could double up the speed. So I was expecting to be finishing this video in about 10 minutes. Anyway, I am going to eat this orange whether you like it or not. Not whether you like it or not, but you know what I'm saying anyway. So whether you like the sound squelching on the microphone is what I'm thinking about really. Okay, that's the first half of the orange eaten. Oh, do you know, I was going to wait for a scene change, and then I was going to stop it. No, I was going to speed up all the rest of it, and then add my comments to those instead. But I missed the scene change. When's it coming up? Fairly soon. I'll watch out for the next one, and what I'll do is I'll double that one up there, so I can get things to go through a lot quicker. Okay, where are we up to now? I was wondering why I was going so slow. Yeah, still got that Mughal area to gang up on. We're still working out that one. Now, I'm trying to figure out how I can get to this place. Like I said, I can't see the names on from here, I'm afraid. So, one of them up there is Afghanistan, of course. Probably that one, I would have thought. I don't know for certain. Now, if you remember, he's got. I don't know if I'm going to show it now. No, I'm not actually. What I'm doing is I'm working out how long it's going to take to get from the coast up towards there. I'm thinking, well, do I come over here where the road is? But he's got a large army there as well. I'm thinking, is there anything from the west that could help? There's a large fleet there as well. One of my concerns is that fleet is going to go to war with me and then drop one of those armies off, or even both those armies off on my coastline. So, next quarter of orange. Okay, I lied. That was the last half an orange, and for some reason all the pips of the orange seem to be in that one. It's not an orange actually, it's like a tangerine or something really. I seem to get about 10 pips in that one half and nothing in the other half, but anyhow. Okay, what I wanted from Persia was an agreement whereby I could cross their land, so that I could get my troops into their area and then move up from there. Notice my my ships are done. I think they are. Yeah, those first rates. And oh yeah, I'd forgotten about this. This is the merchant ship that suddenly arrived, wasn't it? As well. I say suddenly. It's been waiting ages. It's like authors say. You know, I've been waiting 20 years writing hundreds of books. You know, in order to be an overnight success. But yeah, it's taken a long time to get there. Now, some people have said to me, "Oh, you've got those guard units in northwestern Europe. I want to see them in action and stuff." Okay, fair enough. But I'm concentrating on India really. I want to take India, take all of the east. I don't think anything can touch me in Europe really. I can just pick off any places that I want to. I'm reading about Piet Hein, as you know, at the moment. You know, and his well, basically the Dutch nation in the 1620s, basically after 1588, the breaking of the Spanish Armada and the raiding of their treasure ships and stuff. The Spanish were looking pretty sad. In fact, there are some parallels, between Spain then, or I was making some in my own head anyway, and America now, in that they were very, very overstretched. Okay, they were colonising the world as well, so lots of places for them to defend, but they really were overstretched, and they were massively in debt. So every one of these treasure fleets paid off all of their debts, and if any of these treasure fleets didn't come in, it was like the end. The soldiers didn't get paid. It all fell to pieces. And they're talking about at the moment Afghanistan. And I know somebody said, "Oh no, politics. It was inevitable. It got on your channel." I really don't mean to get involved in politics. I'm just sort of drawing parallels, really, because that's what I love about history. I think if you know history, you'll know the future, because history tells you how people have operated. And I often think scientific experiments are the same thing. If you want to find out if something will work, you need to build up a history. That's what you do. You design as an experiment where things happen. You control the changes, but what you do is you have a start, you have a finish, you put the changes in there, and you see what's happened over time. Yeah, and if that time change has meant that those people no longer get cancer, you've got a history, you've got a knowledge there that comes from experience. Say, oh, flipping heck, hang on, I've run this experiment. The only difference between, well, not the only difference, but the key difference between scientific experiments and history itself is that history is uncontrolled. So it's just the things that happen. But having said that, you can influence things by controlling them as well. So simply by measuring things that have been uncontrolled, there's a value in that as well, I think. But anyway, if you're heavily in debt and you're running armies across the globe, and then suddenly your treasure doesn't come in, I don't know, oh no, I don't mean to get political, but the oil that comes in, or the value of your gold stock goes down, or I don't know what it is, that makes you strong. I'll give you an example to put it on a micro level instead of such a macro level. Our pubs in our country are struggling at the moment, and they're owned by these what we call pub cooperatives that have bought out all the pubs, and they own lots and lots of these public houses, and hardly anybody's going into these pubs anymore. Well, these places that own them have got large debts, and they're only looking after those debts on the basis that they've got the properties to sell. My theory is, if they sell one of those properties and it's not worth, nobody will buy it for the £1 million that they consider it to be worth. Let's say they only get 500,000 for it. Then the people who are financing those pubcos are suddenly going to think, hang on, the value of this company isn't actually worth what we think it is. It's not worth 500 million anymore. It's only worth half that, because the pub actual values are actually worth half that, and they're losing money in the meantime. So the properties aren't gaining value. So I think it sort of works out. You get yourself into a bit of a hole, don't you, really? Can't sell anything to make the money back, because it's in no way going to pay off the debt, and it's going to expose exactly what our resources are. Anyway, I don't mean to get into a debate about capitalism. I don't mean it that way. What I mean is that when you start to look into these games, is that you can do the same thing, and I think the Total War teams show that extremely well. They really do, in terms of how important the raw resources are. It's important to get trade, but you can suddenly lose that trade. They can cut your trade routes instantly, like they did to me in the United Provinces. Suddenly everything falls to bits. You rely on that trade coming in. I've always said in my economies, I want to have a balance between, you see this, I've got a massive advantage there. We're over 3/4, and that's what I'm going for. So anyway, sorry, just jumping back into the game there a bit. If your outgoings are, say, 40,000, yeah, and your income is 60,000, but 30,000 of that income is trade, when they cut your trade, you are then 10,000 in deficit. You instantly have to get rid of armies. Yeah, you do. That's what this game does for you. So basically what it's telling you is get natural resources. Yeah. And what it tells me as a Northern Englishman is work within your natural resources. Yeah. Don't eat into the debt. The debt is a bonus. Yeah. So you can use that if necessary. Yeah. I say debt as a bonus sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? I sound like one of the financiers now. But you know what I mean, don't you? Let's say if you've got an income of £20,000 a year coming in, and that's enough to, for your living, to sustain your living. I'm just saying as an example, it could be 40,000, could be 10,000, I've no idea what it is, but anyway, that's enough to sustain you. But you've been doing overtime and getting an extra £10,000, then do you suddenly increase your living up to 30,000, all your debts and everything up to 30,000, get a new house and things, so your life is costing you 30,000 a year, and then when your overtime goes, if it does, then you're screwed. Is that what you do? No, I don't think you do. What you do is you live up to your £20,000 and you bank your first year of overtime of 10,000. In your next year, you can live the standard of 30,000 without ongoing commitments. Fair enough, because you're spending the 10,000 you've got in the bank there. If the next year you get another 10,000, fair enough, you can live up to the 30,000 again. Yeah, but the minute that money goes, you've got 1 year of spending that extra 10,000 to get your life sorted out again, isn't it? That's what it's all about. That's the way I manage things, and it's the way I tend to manage my Empire Total War games. But of course I'm so rich at the moment, I've got armies all over the place, I can pretty much do what I like. So, okay, here's the end of this place now. That's mine. I think that was the final taking of it. That's right, yeah. Okay, so that means the Indian army that was threatening me has now disappeared. I no longer need to worry about that one. And that's the end of the Mughals. You won't hear the sound on that, I'm afraid. I'm really sorry about that, but that's what I'm saying about the Skype. Put Skype on and it alters Audacity does it as well for some reason. I really don't know why. It just automatically seems to change the settings somehow, but my voice sounds extremely loud on this, so I do apologise, but there are no sounds from within the game, so none of them got recorded. So you might as well just turn the whole thing down. You're not going to hear any game sounds at all. So no birds singing in the background, no waves splashing, anything like that. Do waves splash? I think waves really beat, don't they? They sort of beat against the rocks, but splash? I think maybe that's just rain in the water, isn't it, really? But okay, so now it's a case of moving my troops forward again in the same way that I did before. Do you remember I sort of moved the guns up into a position where I could get somewhere near this place, so I'd have the guns in the attack rather than have to attack with the army and then leave the guns behind or bring them on as reinforcements. So this time what I want to do is back up with my secondary army into here, just to make them happy, really. I don't think I need that many troops in there. I need to start getting those out of there. But now what I need to consider with the Mughals out of the way is how to take the Persians out. Now if you remember down at the bottom here, this is the biggest problem. If you look up here, by the way, where that town is from the coast, it's going to take a long time to get there. There's a road just beyond there, just beyond where that port is. Now I've already looked here, there's nothing that can help them from over that side. It's far too far away. Even though there's a road, there's no way they're going to get there. So it's estimating how far it's going to be to go from the coast up to there. This is the big problem. I need my gentleman, who's over here somewhere, to do a bit of spying for me, just to let me know exactly how many men the Persians have got in there. I need to get into a position as well where I can attack that town there. You can see from the latest Mughal acquisition that I've got that army spare, and I've moved those across, and I will be replenishing those as well. But the big problem is how I get there. So my way to address that is to get the Persians to give somewhere up, to actually give it to me, give me one of their regions, and that's what I'm going to suggest. I don't really need this region, to be honest with you, but my idea was I could then travel through the region once I've got it. The reason why I don't need it is because I'm going to be able to attack it and gain it next turn. But what I want to do is be able to take this and then move through the region so that I can then attack that other place which is largely inaccessible. The one that I've been showing you down at the bottom. He's got two decent sized armies in there as well, and he's got a fleet down at the bottom. They're a fleet of dhows, so they're pretty rubbish. Blimey, who was to know that an orange would give you so much wind? Isn't it ridiculous? Right. Okay. Is this the point where I go for it? Go for the access? I can't remember now. At a point where I couldn't get the regions, I decided instead just to get military access out of them instead, so that I could walk across their territories. Now, of course, I was willing to pay for that. No, I think I'm still after their territory at this point. Yeah, I'm really sorry I didn't speed this through. I could have done so easily speeded this through. But I didn't want to start again. Once I'd realised, when I got 20 odd minutes into the video, you know, narrating it, I thought, no, I don't really want to do that again, you know. Okay, big payment. I think that word is a no to begin with. I can't quite read it on here, like I say, but I'm pretty sure that's a no. Yeah, okay, this is all a bit of a, you know, fiddling about now, trying to get them to accept something. Giving them text, giving them more money, trying all sorts of things. I am actually loaded at the moment. I can't even see the amount of money I've got, but it's a heck of a lot of money. It's over 200,000 that I've got there that I can buy things with. But he's just not going to play the game, is he? I can't remember at what point I realise that access might be a way to go ahead. In fact, I'm looking now for where the military access is. Oh, I can't see it on there. No, I'm just going to have another go, aren't I? I'm really sorry about this. I mean, this is the kind of diplomacy that I'd normally just miss off. You know, I think, well, we hit the red button, get rid of it, you know, because they don't need to see this. And I'll just play around with, you know, possibilities. See what they refuse until I get to somewhere near what I think they're going to accept, and then I bring you into the video and then do it. And that's why you don't see a great deal of diplomacy. And often people say to me, why don't you do more diplomacy, why don't you do this? And it's basically because you get a load of this, you know, a load of will you, won't you, oh please, go on, can I just add this, whatever. So, crikey me, what happened there? Everything all of a sudden went very, very dark. I don't know why. I was just looking at a different part of the map. I hope it didn't look quite that dark for you. Right. Okay, so having decided it's not going to happen, I then think, do I want to go to war? Nope, I'll just inch just that little bit closer so that I know I can easily reach when the turn comes. And also I'm replenishing the troops as well, so they should be a full army by the time I get there. And of course it's only one army. Remember, to take out that last Mughal stronghold, I needed 2 armies really to be absolutely certain about it. So I'm really not sure if that one up there is going to be enough to take that place. I'm really not. I don't think it's his capital though, so I tend to find it's the capitals that are the most heavily defended. And I'm hoping that is the capital, this one here that I'm pointing at, so I could get my most number of armies against that one. Again, I'm trying to ponder this one, thinking how long is it going to take to get across that territory there? And I really just don't know. It could take about 5 turns or more. I think I measure that actually by looking at the nearest troop. Yes, I am. You see how they're going a really, really long way away? You can hardly see it, can you? The line sort of goes off to the top and curls all the way back round in a kind of hook, you know, to get you into that place. And it's just, I thought, oh, it's just going to take forever. You know, so I wanted it to end before then. I wanted to make sure that I got the Persians and the Mughals in the bag before 1750. 1750 being the ultimate time, the end of the short campaign basically. That's the win. I only went for the short campaign in the first place, as you know. Okay. At some point the penny drops. I don't know how long it's going to take me for this penny to drop, but it will do. That there's no way I'm going to take this in time over land, so I need an alternative. So I think, hang on about a minute, I've got lots of armies sitting around doing nothing. I've got lots of ships to move those armies around with. I wonder if I should go by sea. Gosh, aren't I clever? So anyway, that's just oh, I thought it was anyway. Is that a... Yeah, that's right, yeah. That's my gentleman. I wanted to bring a gentleman over because I wanted some idea how long it was going to take me. If you try to move armies, it thinks the other side is an enemy. Well, they are an enemy, so it won't let you move readily through their territory, whereas a gentleman can do. So that will give you some idea of how long it would take to move through the territory. So I'm using them that way. I haven't got many rakes over here because I've got lots of churches, you see, so I could Catholicize India and make it happier with my rule. So I'm using this gentleman who's come out of the university to, you know, because obviously I don't need universities anymore, to go and have a look and do a bit of spying for me. So I'd use I don't know, I was going to say priest, I suppose is the best way to describe it. I don't think they call priests in this. I think they call ministers, Catholic ministers or something like that, or clergymen or something, I don't know, but they should really be priests, I suppose. And in fact, no, they should actually, I think, be missionaries. The true missionaries, the original ones, they were certainly Roman Catholics, weren't they? Probably even Jesuits, to be fair. Goodness me. Anyway, to lapse into politics again, you've heard about the Commonwealth changes, haven't you? You know, with the possible accession to the royal family being Roman Catholic. I don't know if I've mentioned this before in a previous video, you know, but that has serious ramifications for Britain, and of course we're largely a secular society now and don't understand it, but let me give you an example. Southern Ireland can't do abortions, so their young girls are coming over to England to have their abortions done. That's basically because their laws are quite driven still by the church. Once you get a Roman Catholic in charge, their children become Roman Catholic, and once that happens, then the Pope has direct control over those people. Although we have a largely sort of, I was going to say laissez-faire, but that's a bit unkind, isn't it, really? I don't mean that. We have a royal family who they don't really have such an active role in government anymore, and hardly anything at all, really. So it's a constitutional monarchy is what they call it. And theoretically they could turn around and say, no, I'm sorry, Parliament is no good, and kick them out and send them back to the electorate. I'd love to see that happen, because that is within their power, but anyhow, that's another story, and I'm sure people would argue against me on that one. But the point is, once it becomes Roman Catholic, it's a problem, because our laws could change. You could find the Crown Courts, you know, influenced, you know, directly in that way. The House of Lords would be influenced. You really don't know. Once you start to get the Pope involved in policy making, which they would do then, because you could then potentially end up with a Catholic Prime Minister as well, and you know, then you see that their first duty is to religion. I'm not saying that's a bad thing either, but it is a difference. What they need to understand, there are serious ramifications with doing this. You know, allowing a female accession to the throne, so her children then become Roman Catholic, and also enabling a Roman Catholic to accede to the throne. It does have quite significant ramifications, even in a time when we were largely secular anyway. You know, when we got a constitutional monarchy, there was an insistence, you know, because of James II and all that we would no longer have a Roman Catholic king. So we do need to think very carefully about that. Okay, we might just be talking about non-entities now. It might all be in the past and we can forget it. But anyway, what I was about to say was these are priests, probably Jesuit priests, that are working in these other countries, who martyred themselves all over the world, of course, for their religion. So I don't mean to knock that, and it was the true faith of Britain and of Europe as well. So you know, virtually the whole of Europe, I think, at some points. Right, okay, let's have a look over here, see what we've got. Well, let's have a look what we were looking at. What I want to know is how big their armies are. Can I take them on? Can I tackle them? If I land enough armies there in his territory, in that Persian territory, can I defeat those armies? Can I defeat them, and then in the time it takes to reach his capital city, which is quite a long way away, will I have replenished my troops and have enough to be able to take that final bastion, which is his capital? Excuse me. These are the sort of debates that are going on in my head. Excuse me. Or that were around about midnight last night when I was paying attention to this. Okay, so now there's no threat to this area. I'm thinking, can I come out of there? And I can't, because it goes red. So I really wanted to send another backup army into there. Oh, I've got one here. Yeah. Now what I now need to do is work out if this one goes red, if I come out of it. I don't think it does. Thinking about taking it to a port and sending it all the way around as well. You know, what's the best way to do it? But see what I mean? It's right in the middle of the country. You sort of think, oh, what do I do? Do I send it up to the northeast and back up that place? Let's check if it goes on red first. Yep, we're okay. So do I move it up to that place in the northeast and then move the army out of there, moving them northeast in order to help with the next attack that's going ahead? Or do I move those towards a port area and bring them on in the southern area, which is going to go against his capital? That's what this debate is that's going on at the moment. So, okay, I think I discover, though, that there are quite a few troops hidden amongst these areas here, and it's just a case of fiddling about with them all and getting them onto ships. See, imagine doing this now with like a little square with a sort of multiplication sign in the middle of it to represent an armoured brigade or something. You know, it's just not the same, is it? On like a board, you know, it just doesn't do it for me at all. And then of course you go from here and you go to. Hey, in fact, I tell you what else I did. Well, another one that I looked at, and that was pirates. What's it called? John Spiegman's Pirates or something. I don't know. It's about 5 years old now. They do look cartoon-like. They're not as good quality as these. But I quite enjoyed some of the ship actions. They looked okay. But I need to think about it. Come on, Total War team, bring out another game. What we want is 30 Years War, please. Let's have the 30 Years War. By this time, by the way, the Dutch virtually rule the seas. Well, in actual history, that is. Do you know, it's interesting. You look through British naval history and you think about Drake and Raleigh and Frobisher and Hawkins, all those people. You think about all the sort of raids that took place and stuff, and okay, some of them were successful, some of them were very successful. Nothing was as amazing as how the Dutch were conducting themselves. And I've just read an account, and it was about a load of Dutch Floyts, you know, their merchant ships that also had cannons on them. They had very sophisticated cannons, and their soldiers were really good soldiers as well. So a ship that would normally need 30 men was crewed by 10, you know, for the Dutch. They could fire 3 times faster than anybody else, basically. So a ship with 20 guns on it could take on a second and first rate with 70 odd guns. It was just incredible. You know, their firepower and manoeuvrability was just incredible. Anyway, I just read about this battle, I can't remember, 1600s, where the Spanish laid in wait for the Dutch to come through, you know, past Gibraltar. That's a narrowing point that the Dutch have to come through, and of course they're coming with all the eastern spices, so it's a trade fleet. Well, the Spanish decide to go and attack them with, you know, pretty good attack force. Yeah. The Dutch just blow them to pieces, sinking some of their ships. Others sink later, and then they just sail on with their merchandise. And the Dutch are thinking, what was that all about? What was that? We've had storms worse than that. But anyhow, a couple of years later, the Dutch get a little bit cocky, and they think, well, this time, same thing happens again. You know, they're attacked by a smaller Spanish fleet this time, war galleons, of course, again. And this time they decide, well, we'll capture their war galleons. So they make the fatal error. They get up close to the Spanish ships, don't they, and start boarding. And of course, Spanish ships got 200 Marines on them for a start. So it all went horribly wrong, and they lost some ships on that occasion. But smarting from that, a year later, the Spanish just take a war fleet up there, about 200 ships, and just blow the whole place apart. And you say, okay, you want to play, you want to fight, let's fight. So they don't try taking anything, capturing anything, like I do, in fact, at sea. You know, they just blow everything to pieces. It's as simple as that. Fascinating history. And I did read before about the Dutch and the Spice Islands and the British as well, down in the East Indies. And I mean, they took over all the Portuguese spice trade. They really did. So just a vast empire, and for such a small place like Britain, it was just incredible. It really was. I mean, I shouldn't really be talking about the Dutch now, should I? I should be talking about the Polish. You know, holding their own for so long in Central Europe in the way that they did was just remarkable. I mean, to have grown the way I've grown them in this game, I think is just unreal. It's a country that I would have really disliked to play for its position in Europe. You know, it's just surrounded by everybody. You know, Russia, Austria, Sweden. You know, Prussia. They're all good. In fact, they're all better. You know, so. I really thought this was going to be a much bigger struggle than it has been, and I thought I'd have some big risks, especially with people's garrisons being so strong and losing so many men against them, especially in the early days before you get mortars, and they've got mortars, you know. So, this is one of my Russian armies. I'm thinking, what do I do with them? I think, well, does it matter? They're sort of hanging about. Let's give them a holiday. That's what I was thinking, which is stupid, I know. I've got my winged hussars in there, I've got my guard in there, I've got all sorts of troops in there. So I thought, well, alright, I'll put them on the ships, or I'll put them in the port. Okay. turn end, see what the French are doing. Nobody really does anything important, but pay me loads of money for trade. That's the only thing I'm interested in. Now, somebody did say, why don't you go to war with Spain, because they're not trading with you. And they're quite right, I was tempted to. But they're all allied, you know. Spain, I don't know if it shows you on there, I think it does, doesn't it? You know, Spain and France and, is it Savoy, is it? I don't know. They're all allied. So you go to war with one and you'll go to war with all of them, and then suddenly all the trade will dry up, you know, and you're suddenly fighting everybody, which is a bit of nonsense. So what I would have done, had I not been aiming for the 1750, was I'd have allied with one, Spain or maybe France, I really don't know, and then seen them go to war with somebody else, jumped on the back of that, so I'd be at war with just one person. And people would just think I was a nice guy, you know, just, oh no, he's only here because he's helping out his ally. What a nice chap he is. Okay. I mean, this is all just about turn-end stuff, you know, sort of what do I do where. I'm thinking really about, okay, if you want to give me somewhere, give me Cuba then. At first, when they said New Mexico, I thought it was like New Spain. I got it all wrong. New Mexico is that sort of rubbish area right out on the west of America. Oh dear, getting up early to get this done. It's left me a bit tired, I think. Yawning now. I think it's having to go so long without having a cup of tea. I honestly expected I was going to be having a cup of tea by now. I really did. Anyway. Okay. I'm not sure how to stop this and then restart it, so that's why I'm going all the way through without stopping to make myself a cup of tea or whatever. Or to eat that orange. Satsuma or whatever it was. Okay. Ah. Where are they going? As long as they don't take off me any of my key areas, then I'm quite happy. They could be going over to America to steal one of my American areas. I really don't care. It's not important to me at all. But if they do go and take one of my American areas, it would probably annoy me enough to just go in there and take all their European areas and then just blow them out of the game. That's what I would do. That gives me a rebel area then, wouldn't it, in America? Okay. Oh, that's interesting, by the way, for all you Americans out there. Now, I don't mean to be seriously political here, don't get me wrong. It's only a laugh, isn't it? But if it was illegal for the southern states of America to cede from America itself, from the whole of America, why was it legal for America in itself to cede from the United Kingdom? How could it be legal? I don't know how you address that in your constitution. I really don't know. But my understanding is that it's illegal, almost treacherous, in the American Constitution to divide. You can't actually leave. So it's against your own laws. It was certainly against ours. You weren't allowed to do that, the British ones. So anyway, I think if we got a clever lawyer, who's the one that helped O.J. Simpson, then maybe then we could be in a position to get America back, please, and then achieve what Benjamin Franklin did, really, which, well, achieve what he said was going to happen, and have America as the centre of the empire, because I believe that's probably how it should be, really. But anyway, we'd all be united then, wouldn't we, as one working together country. Okay, not a serious political debate, by the way. Right, what I'm doing is using the gentleman. Like I said, it's taking a couple of turns to get him anywhere. It takes ages to walk through those areas there to find out how long it's going to take, and then decide how I'm going to get across these Persian territories. Now, this is where I decide eventually. I think I'm going to go for access. I don't seem to be able to get across any other way. So I think I'm still going to try for a territory at this point, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to give it to me. No, this is where I go for the access, that's right. Okay, so I'll give him some money, I'll give him some tech, and all I want is 5 turns of access. If he can give that to me, I'll be on to him before he can say Jack Robinson. Don't know where that comes from, actually, that phrase, Jack Robinson. Anyway, it's a good phrase. I mean, to be fair, really, might give me a bit more time if I said supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, wouldn't it? Really? But anyway, no, Jack Robinson quicker. We'll be on him like a shot, basically. Ah, now there's another army down at the bottom. Just looking at that, that fooled me for a while, actually. You know, I thought, hang on a minute, it's got another town here. What's going on? But it's not another town. It's just a building. Right, it looks like I can reach his main town in one turn from there. So it looks like it's going to take my armies about 3 or 4 turns to get across there. That's what I was trying to find out by using that gentleman in that way. So what I now need to do is get these on a fleet. I hope this video works, by the way. It's been, I don't know, a year maybe since I used Windows Movie Maker. I seem to have problems with it when it got over 15 minutes, so I don't even know if any of this is going to work. I might have to split it all up, do all this commentary all over again, in which case I will speed it all up a bit. The microphone was very, very loud when I tested it, by the way, so like I said, you might need to turn that down a bit. Right, okay, I didn't really want to go to war with him there, but I wanted access via that road there. So I thought, well, okay, if I could, again, I'm looking at this, wishful thinking really, can I get my troops across from there? But no, I can't, can I really? So I'm thinking, can I bring my ships over here? Yep, and now I've got military access. What I could do is get my men off there, get them onto the roads, and I can attack hopefully 1 or 2 turns along that road. The other idea, of course, is that if I set off along that road while I've got military access, then his armies will be behind me on the road, so I might race him to his own capital. That's the intention anyway. So there are quite a few armies I can fiddle about with here. I did a lot of, again, messing around, trying to get different armies from different places, and that's why really this should be speeded up a bit. So that I could just explain it overall, because when you're talking about things as you're doing them, it sort of puts you off, and it sort of makes you move just that little bit slower because you're sort of thinking and talking at the same time. So right, something that politicians themselves aren't very good at either. No, I shouldn't say that, should I? Dropping into politics again. We can do politics with a small p, can't we? Why not? Okay. Right, okay, this is just about sort of grouping the men, working out which ones are going to take over, how many armies I'm going to need. I think I get about 3 armies over there eventually, you know. Now I know it looks like he's got 2, but he hasn't really. He's got 2 armies of about 11, 15 men. I think he makes up about 1.5 armies in and around that port there. So I think 3 armies over there would doubly outnumber him in that area. But I don't want to do that, actually. What I want to do is get enough men to be able to get onto that road and start moving towards his capital as quickly as possible. At this stage, having completed this video, because it's over in about 10 minutes or so, I was thinking, well, will I be able to reach him in time? And I still don't know that. I have no idea. I played up until this point, and it had got to about midnight last night, like I say, so I really have no idea. It's probably going to take a heck of a long time to make this video up as well. Be interesting to know actually if the quality is any better, because on Virtual Dub I'm having to use some, I don't know, it took me a long time to fish about and find a setting that would work on the HD. Unfortunately, of course, I haven't got anything for you to look at in very close detail on here. I haven't got any battles, you know, to compare, but anyway, I'll go for one of the HD settings and see if it still works. I really have no idea, so there might be a bit of what's the word, hit and miss maybe? Trial and error, I think that's the intelligent way to say it, isn't it? Okay. Right, there you go, you see, I've got a 3rd army. Making sure I've got a decent mix of troops as well, of course. Once the army is in there, in Kabul, I'll probably... Kabul? What am I talking about? I don't think it is Kabul. Once the army's in his capital, whatever it's called, then I won't really be able to take it out, because he will have, what's the word, resistance to foreign occupation perhaps? Something like that anyway. So I want to be able to leave an army in there that can stay in there, while I can move my other armies around if necessary, or just completely surround him with the 3 armies and beat him in an assault with those 3 armies. Oh, I could have done with that cup of tea. I'm glad I'm not actually fighting the campaign at the moment. I'll be very frustrated. Okay, third army coming over. I don't think I managed 4, you know. Don't think I do. See if I can squeeze that one in there. The idea is just to be able to get them onto the road, of course, without attacking him. So if I put one army behind, just to prevent him from being able to reinforce the capital when I do finally put my attack on there, that would be good. I also want to be leaving some big ships over here as well to block this area off. So if he does decide, well, I'm going to lose all my cities, so what I'll do is I'll pop this army onto this fleet here, raid one of his ports, and then move into central India and just grab an easy target. What I want is for my big ships to be blocking up that little channel that you can see up there. Okay, not up to that stage yet, but that's what we'll be doing. I don't think I've done it yet, might have done, but you'll find that all these other cities in Persia all have armies that can take them, usually 2, maybe even 3 armies that can take them in one turn. They can move in and take them over. If we look, you can't really see it there, you just look over to the top there, you find there's only one army that can attack that top place, so I am hoping that that's going to be enough to take the place. But I'll find out soon, because I'll be able to move into that territory anyway, won't I? Because I now have, as I said before, access across these lands. Okay, the gentleman's almost there as well, and he can tell me what's actually in there. At the moment we've no idea. There could be 5 stacks, and I still haven't now, even, you know, having, like I said, played up last night, I have no idea how much he's got in either of those territories. I have no, as what we call intelligence. Oh yes, I did. I found out that one. I don't remember seeing the other one though before I went to bed last night. So that's all he's got in there. Now I should have enough to take that, but just to make sure, there are no Mughal armies left, of course. So this should come in as a backup army. So I'm virtually guaranteed to take that. And of course, I'm replenishing those troops as well. So very soon it will be a full army. Of course, I don't want to take it now. He may well recruit now in that area as well, but will he be able to recruit enough to be able to beat me? And I was hoping on this video, again I lost track of time, I really was hoping on this video to be able to move in across those areas, up that road, and take those areas in the top there. I'm not sure how many turns it's going to take to move up that road, but even if it's 2, I really was expecting to do that in 2 swift moves and take everywhere else. If you look at these places here, I can hit him in 1 turn. I think there's another army fairly close that I can bring up just to support that attack, because you can see he's got a pretty decent sized garrison in there as well. He's only got about 2 infantry units in there in addition to the garrison, but I really need to bring up some troops just to support that one. I can't see any behind him, so I'm going to have to bring them in from elsewhere, and that's what I'm going to do. 3 armies here, they're too far away to reach. This army within reach of there, it's looking good, and of course now I can find out what he's got in there because I've got access over his territory, haven't I? So let's go and have a look. Yeah, so I might need a second army in against that one. Well, that's no problem, because I've got about 3 armies over here, haven't I? Over to the west. North, east, south, west. Yes, west, that's right. Okay. Right, backup army. I don't think the others are going to be able to get anywhere, to be honest, or rather near enough. But I think I'll move them down, thinking, well, I might as well. Got nothing else to do with them. See how far away they are from anything. I can't get them anywhere by sea. So they are sort of a bit stuck in the middle of there, really. Okay, gang up on that poor place. Right, just checking that now, just to see if I've got enough men in there to be able to complete that. Yes, my Achilles heel, if you like, is down here. This could be the one territory I don't take, so I've only got 1 army here. I don't even remember now how many I've got in there, or what sort of men I've got in there. Yeah, oh yeah, I've got some decent guns in there. Will they be able to reach though? That's the question, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I moved those, so they're a little bit closer. And then I consider the idea of moving my other men into position. It's not too bad if that place doesn't fall all at once. What I can do is take all these other territories, put large armies around them, so his that are down on the coast there, near that large fleet, in no way would be able to beat them. And then of course I can reinforce that sieging army, that one on the weakest point where I've only got one place that will attack them, one army that will attack them, and then take it the next turn or the turn after. But to me it's almost over for the Persians. I was expecting it to go on this video, like I say. I'm expecting within the first, say, because there'll probably be a turn end involved as well in order to get people into position. I'm expecting 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes we should have taken the Persian areas, and of course I'll rush through the turn as quickly as possible. I'm not doing any building, as you notice. I'm not even doing any repairing because there didn't seem to be any point. So okay, and this, like I say, is all about getting troops to support him over there. I know he's not a great deal of them, but it's enough to give a support, you know, and to make an army into an army and a half, you know, to make the difference in capturing the place. So I'm hoping that although they can't reach this turn, and maybe they can't reach next turn, I'm just hoping they can get near enough to give support next turn. And if you look at that, see how far they can go, it looks like they certainly will be able to, doesn't it? So, okay, so I think the other army should be able to get close enough to be able to affect that attack. Right, those guns are pretty good, by the way. They're long-range guns. They're actually better than the mortars, because the mortars will only fire their shrapnel shot and their lime shells, you know, if they're within a 600 range. Well, probably even less than that. I haven't measured it. Whereas his big mortars, if he has any, you know, they can fire at 750. So we just get blown to bits while we're getting into position. Or we go one-on-one with a ball against them, and really I don't think that's a good option. I didn't notice actually in the diplomacy how advanced they were with regard to artillery, but I'm hoping they're not quite as good as me. Anyway, we're now approaching the end of this video. Sorry it's been a long one. I did expect to shorten it, like I say, failed. But anyway, next video should be the end of this series, unless there's loads of people saying no, please fight on, and then I'll reconsider. But other than that, I'm looking around for something else. Okay, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please come back again. Thanks again.